Hey guys, in this video, I want to talk about how do you actually deal with burnout, some of my experience and how that's how I've helped to overcome that. So this is specifically for a work context, but I mean this can relate to you in different capacities as well if you take the principles. So firstly, I mean the first thing that's really helped me is revisiting my why. Like if you probably have signed up for this job or program or whatever it was for some reason, and sometimes along the journey we just forget like why did I actually do this or what was the reason for that? Just because it's the day to day, you get into it and you kind of just forget. So that's the first thing is really revisiting like, why did I actually sign up for this thing or want to begin this thing in the first place? And I found that's really been helpful for me. Be like, oh yeah, like that's why I'm doing that, and it's really helped me to stay on track. Now, the second thing that's been really helpful is really thinking about, do I feel burnt out and tired? Is it a process thing or is it a personal thing? Now, process meaning like there's a situation at work, or there's a relationship at work, or there's a conflict as we're going through a project or something specific at work. Or is it more a personal thing where I have some personal health things that have been worked on, or personal stresses, or personal relationship stuff, or whatever the case may be. Because if it's a process related thing, then you got to work through that. You're choosing to work in this situation or the stress or whatever the case may be. And to really get over this, you either got to figure that thing out or decide that's not what you want to do. With a personal thing, it's like good to have that awareness of like, oh, this might actually have nothing to do with work, but it's just my personal life and I need to work on that. So getting clarity on like what the reason is, has been just in different roles in my life has been really helpful. So that's the second thing. Third thing that's been really helpful is doing physical movement. If you're feeling burnt out, like when I'm feeling burnt out, I just want to lie in bed and watch movies and play some video games and in itself it's not a bad thing, but if you do it over like excessively, that's not good. So, and then the last thing I want to do sometimes is just feeling like I want to work out or go for a swim or the stuff that I actually really like doing. So, going on a walk, getting out in nature, like really forcing yourself to do that, because at the end of that, like I don't think I've ever regretted, having a workout and not feeling at least somewhat better afterwards. So making sure you get your, physical exercise, and even if you really don't want to. Now the fourth thing is just taking a break, stepping back from that work environment or stepping back from the thing where you feel burnt out from. The trap that I felt sometimes is, oh, if I'm not at work, if I'm not in the project, if I'm not doing the thing, it's not going to work out. Everything's going to crumble, and the whole world revolves around what I'm doing, which could be the case for you, but probably most likely, taking a break, people will figure it out, it will get done, and if you just need to prioritize your personal health and personal, just taking a break, just personal space for a bit, like that should be totally okay. Because even just taking a few days off, a long weekend, an extra week, can work wonders, because then you really can get that space to really get clarity and maybe to do those first few things that we talked about, your why, getting the awareness of what's going on, getting out in nature, doing some physical movement. So just taking a break, and it sounds obvious, but it's important. The fifth thing I would say is getting clarity on what do you really want to be doing. Like if you're feeling burnt out from, say, a specific job, like what do you really want to be doing instead? And sometimes you'll have the answer, sometimes you don't. But really getting that clarity on what you want and thinking about that, I found is really important, because when I've been in tough situations, with feeling really tired, feeling burnt out, it's like, what do I actually want? And it's almost like re-enrolling yourself in your vision, because again, this probably ties back to number one. You probably signed up for what you're doing in the first place because that was part of your vision. So, you might just carry on and feel like you need to change some boundaries and adjust things, or you might realize, hey, this is not what I want to be doing, and you get clarity on what you want to be doing instead. It doesn't have to be kind of mutually exclusive. Like, could you do, what you're doing, but then be growing in your area part-time on the side? If you have hobbies or whatever. I think you get what I'm trying to say. Now, number six, something really practical, is having something in the calendar that you look forward to. Now, this could be like a weekly thing, like say you pick up a sport or pick up a new hobby or whatever that looks like. Or maybe it's like you book a holiday for a month away or 3 months away, or you have something that you're looking forward to, or some goal or some vision that you're looking forward to. Because whenever we, lose vision of like what we're looking forward to and having hopes and aspirations, not just in like the long term, like 5 years plus away, but even in the short term, it can feel really heavy. It's almost like trying to run a marathon and then not have any little checkpoints along the way. Like you've run 1 mile, you've run 2 miles, you've run 5 miles, and there's little stations, and you get little jellies and energy drinks, and little checkpoints to really celebrate the kind of process. So it's the same thing with having something to look forward to. Although, you might not have reached your end goal, um, you can celebrate along the way, and it makes the process a lot more enjoyable. And something that could be really helpful to that is like really thinking gap versus thinking gain. I made a video about that a few days ago, and that's really helped me to actually feel like I'm enjoying a process more along the way, as opposed to just try and feel happy at the very end, which is a bit of a black hole cycle. But anyway, so there's some of my six tips that have really helped me. Now, if you go through all these six things and try to apply them and that's not really working for you, can I encourage you, speak to a coworker, speak to a friend, maybe get some professional help as well if you're really feeling stuck. But there's lots of avenues out there. Like you're not alone. So I really want to encourage you with that. Like what you're feeling, you're probably not the first person to feel this if you're feeling stuck and burnt out. So I want to encourage you with that. Thanks for listening, guys. See you in the next one.